For decades, luxury had an unmistakable silhouette, tall, elegant, commanding. The kind of SUV that didn't need to prove anything the moment it appeared in the rearview mirror. That was the world of Range Rover, a world where craftsmanship mattered more than screens, where heritage carried more weight than software, where prestige was built over generations, not downloaded overnight. Then the rules changed. Not slowly, not gradually, almost all at once. Artificial intelligence entered the automobile. Software became more valuable than switches. Processing power became as important as horsepower. And suddenly, the companies shaping tomorrow's vehicles weren't just automakers anymore. Some of them were technology companies. That's what makes the XIAOMI SKYNOMAD N90 so fascinating. Not because it comes from a new name, but because it comes from a company that has spent years mastering something traditional luxury brands are still learning: digital ecosystems, artificial intelligence, connected devices, continuous software evolution. If those strengths can truly be translated into a luxury SUV, then the biggest threat to established premium brands won't come from another century-old manufacturer. It will come from a company that understands the digital world better than almost anyone. And that leads to one uncomfortable question: has Range Rover been preparing for the wrong competition all along? Let's find out. Every major shift in automotive history begins the same way. An unfamiliar name appears. Most people ignore it. Some laugh at it. A few become curious. Then, almost without warning, everyone starts paying attention. That is the opportunity standing in front of the XIAOMI SKYNOMAD N90. XIAOMI SKYNOMAD N90. Before discussing performance, before talking about luxury, before comparing it with legendary SUVs, there's one thing that immediately separates this vehicle from almost every traditional flagship. Its philosophy. Most premium SUVs were created by companies that spent decades perfecting engines, suspensions, transmissions, and mechanical engineering. The XIAOMI SKYNOMAD N90 represents a completely different way of thinking. It begins with software. Instead of asking, how do we build another luxury SUV? The question becomes, how do we build the smartest luxury SUV possible? That single change affects everything. The interior isn't simply filled with technology. It is organized around it. Large digital displays flow naturally across the dashboard. Artificial intelligence becomes part of everyday interaction. Navigation, entertainment, climate control, and vehicle settings are designed to operate as one connected ecosystem, rather than separate systems competing for attention. The objective isn't to impress the driver. It's to remove friction from every journey. Then comes design. The proportions communicate confidence. Clean surfaces replace unnecessary visual complexity. Lighting becomes part of the vehicle's identity. Instead of appearing futuristic simply for attention, the overall design feels deliberate. Modern, sophisticated, timeless enough to remain relevant as technology evolves. If XIAOMI follows the same software philosophy that made its consumer electronics successful, the XIAOMI SKYNOMAD N90 could continue improving through over-the-air updates long after owners take delivery. That may become one of its greatest advantages, because buyers increasingly expect vehicles to behave like the devices they already own. To evolve, to improve. To become smarter over time. Performance tells a similar story. Electric propulsion has fundamentally changed the definition of effortless acceleration, instant torque, near silent operation, smooth power delivery. These qualities naturally complement the luxury experience. But impressive technology alone has never guaranteed success. And that's where the biggest questions begin. Luxury buyers don't purchase innovation for a single weekend. They purchase confidence for years. Can the ownership experience match the promise? Will long-term reliability meet expectations? Can customer support, servicing, and parts availability grow quickly enough to satisfy premium buyers outside its home market? Those questions matter just as much as horsepower or digital displays. Because history has taught us something important. Building an extraordinary vehicle is difficult. Building an extraordinary reputation is even harder. And that is exactly where the next chapter begins. Because now the newcomer must stand beside one of the most respected luxury SUV names ever created. The Range Rover. After some vehicles earn customers, the Range Rover earned a reputation. For more than half a century, it has represented something almost impossible to combine. Luxury worthy of a private club, with the capability to cross terrain that would stop ordinary SUVs without hesitation. That balance made it an icon. World leaders chose it. Celebrities trusted it. Business executives admired it. It became more than an SUV. It became a symbol of success. Step inside a modern Range Rover, and it's immediately clear why. The craftsmanship feels authentic. Premium leather. Open pore wood, metal finishes that feel cold to the touch. Nothing appears rushed. Every detail reflects decades of refinement. Then comes the driving experience. The suspension isolates passengers from rough pavement with remarkable composure. The cabin remains exceptionally quiet. Long-distance travel feels effortless. Whether crossing a crowded city or a remote mountain road, the Range Rover delivers confidence that few luxury SUVs can match. That confidence is its greatest weapon, because confidence cannot be downloaded. It must be earned. And Range Rover has spent generations earning it. But history alone no longer guarantees the future. The luxury market has entered a completely different era. Today's premium buyer doesn't evaluate only leather quality or ride comfort. They also judge processing power, artificial intelligence, digital integration, software upgrades. The vehicle is no longer expected to remain the same after purchase. It's expected to evolve. That's where the pressure begins, because the XIAOMI SKYNOMAD N90 approaches luxury from an entirely different direction. Instead of starting with craftsmanship and adding technology, it starts with technology and builds luxury around it. That may sound like a subtle difference. It isn't. It's a complete shift in philosophy. One vehicle asks the driver to admire tradition. The other asks the driver to experience the future. Neither approach is wrong, but they appeal to different generations. Buyers who grew up dreaming about the Range Rover may still value its heritage above everything else. Buyers who grew up surrounded by smartphones, cloud services, and artificial intelligence may define luxury very differently. To them, intelligence is prestige. Connectivity is comfort. Continuous software evolution is refinement. That is exactly why technology companies entering the automotive world have become such serious competitors. They understand digital behavior better than traditional automakers. If they successfully combine that expertise with premium engineering, the entire luxury market changes. So does Range Rover have a serious problem? Yes, not because the XIAOMI SKYNOMAD N90 has already proven itself superior. Not because decades of British engineering suddenly stopped mattering, but because buyers are beginning to ask different questions, and once the questions change, the answers must change too. The Range Rover still wins where legacy matters. It offers proven craftsmanship, worldwide recognition, an established ownership experience, and decades of real-world credibility. Those advantages remain incredibly valuable. But if software becomes the heart of future luxury, if artificial intelligence becomes the new benchmark, if connected ecosystems become as important as horsepower, then vehicles built by technology first companies will become increasingly difficult to ignore. And that's the real checkmate. The Range Rover is still the better choice for buyers seeking proven prestige, timeless craftsmanship, and a legacy refined over generations. But the XIAOMI SKYNOMAD N90 represents something even more powerful: possibility. The possibility that tomorrow's luxury SUV won't be defined by where it was built, but by how intelligently it thinks. History built the empire. Technology may decide who rules the next one, and if companies like XIAOMI truly master both worlds, the biggest challenge for legendary brands won't be building a better SUV. It will be convincing the next generation that yesterday's definition of luxury is still enough. Asterisk.